before we get to a couple of ACC games, if you want to go to the website, you got basketball in the lower left-hand corner. You can click on that. That's a link to JimFeist.com. You can get plays daily from Jeff, Zach, Jim Feist, and all the guys. Plus, if you want to send a question to the Proline panel, just go to Twitter at JimFeist.com, as well as Facebook at Proline TV, and we'll try to answer your question. Okay, let's go to a couple of ACC games going on the Saturday. First of all, Florida State is playing at Georgia Tech. You got a Florida State team that is 13-12 overall, but 5-7 in the ACC. Still, they're playing pretty well. A 6-1 spread run. During this run, they beat Wake in double overtime. They went to number 23 Miami. Well, they beat number 23 Miami 55-54. They lost at home to Clemson. That ended a nice 3-game homestand. And then last weekend, they won at Virginia Tech 73-65. They hosted Duke on Monday. Fell behind, but gave Duke a pretty good game in the end, 73-70. It's a team that's had to deal with adversity, losing Aaron Thompson. He's out academically ineligible. So it's a young team. You got Ryan Mathis, who's a freshman, along with 6'8 freshman Phil Coffer, playing pretty well against a team with a losing record. The Seminoles are 6-1 against the spread. On the other hand, not as good on the road, 3-8 ATS. So, Jeff, this is kind of a classic Florida State team where you look to back them at home but fade them on the road.
Yeah, this game's I'm not sure. We don't have a line on it yet, but it probably should be close to pick them. But Florida State made a valiant effort versus Duke on Monday, but they came up just short, 73-70. 13-2 straight up, 11-11 against the spread. They've lost 6 of the last 10, and most of the wins came in November and December against pretty weak competition. So actually, they haven't been much different this year, home and away. Against Duke, though, they shot 65% in the second half and scored 46 points, but it wasn't quite good enough because unfortunately, they shot only 30% in the first half. Georgia Tech came up just short versus Virginia Tech on Monday, losing 65-63. They're 11-9-2 against the spread, 5-4 against Denver on the road. Terrible shooting team, 41.5% from the floor, just 27.8% from the three-point line. They've lost 10 of the last 12 with those wins you mentioned against Miami, Florida, and Wake Forest. In that Wake Forest game, Wake Forest shot only 29%. So, in addition to that Virginia Tech game, they had other close losses. Georgia Tech has Syracuse, Pittsburgh, NC State, and Boston College. You could have won any of those, but they didn't. The question in this game is, will Florida State be able to build on that close Duke loss, or will it not matter because this team seems pretty mediocre to me? If they want to get back to 500 in the ACC, they'll have to win this game, but they have to win this game to get back on the right track. But this is a game I'll probably lay off of. I don't see much of an edge here because both these teams have been inconsistent the whole season and not too impressive.
Okay, this Georgia Tech team had a great start to the season, 9-3, but they haven't been winning since 2-10 run. On the other hand, they're playing pretty good for Coach Brian Gregory. They're playing hard, 7-4-1 against the spread, 13-8 run over the total. And look at some of these games of late. They were a 17-point underdog to Duke. They lost just 72-66. They had a home overtime game against NC State, lost by a point as a dog. They went to number 23 Miami, won a blowout game, 70-50. They were a 9.5-point underdog on this. And then on Monday, another close game, which they just lost to Virginia Tech by 2 points. So, Zach, this is a Georgia Tech team that's very good in rebounding, 26th in the nation, very impressive. But there's something missing with this team, particularly these close wins.
Yeah, I think the inconsistency that comes with Georgia Tech, they're a year away. They've had some transfers. Brian Gregory is one of the coaches that's going to get his name out there. I think he's going to be able to get some good recruits. But they have a transfer from South Florida that's on their team. They have the Maryland transfer and Charles Mitchell that's on their team. And then they just have a host of players trying to mesh together. But that's why we're seeing some inconsistency with them. With Florida State, I think their issues are more prevalent. They just don't have the talent right now. And I think right now you're getting a little buy-in from bettors because they're seeing what they've seen lately. But if you watch this Florida State team, they have been so hot potato in their games that one of those crumble games is coming. And I think it's going to happen in this game against Georgia Tech. I would have Georgia Tech as a 2.5, 3-point favorite in this game. But Florida State against Wake Forest, they were down double digits in the first half. They came back and beat them in overtime. This is the recent games. Duke was off in the first half. They still had a double-digit lead. And then in the second half, in that final 8 minutes, it could have went either way. But Florida State made a couple baskets to get that cover in that one late. And They also had another close game here recently. Oh, against Miami. Against Miami, they were down big in the first half. I think it was 33-16, and somehow they clawed their way back with the late three-pointer before the first half ended, and then they carried that momentum over, basically with one player that performed. But they're big men. They're pretty much non-consistent. They're pretty much null and void. They don't have big men that can score. They can defend occasionally, but they have basically the Coker guy and the guard that are just scoring for them, and they're just not getting anything else from that team. I think Georgia Tech, they have 5 key players offensively. If they mesh together and play sound basketball, which I think they can against Florida State, they should get this win and finally get a good backing for point spread backers with Georgia Tech on Saturday.
As you're looking at Florida State in a matchup angle, you prefer them. I'm going to take Georgia Tech in a situational and trend angle because they're at home here. They're a terrific rebounding team. Georgia Tech 11-4 against the spread when they faced the ACC. And the last meeting was last year. Florida State won at home 81-71. They got 37 free throws in that game. 31 of 37 from the line. Georgia Tech just 16 of 19. I can see that being reversed with Georgia Tech's front court rebounding, plus they're at home, plus Florida State on the road. I mentioned 3-8 against the spread, so a small lean toward home court in this one in a must-win game, really for both teams. All right, we have another game going on in the ACC here. We got Duke at Syracuse. Boy, normally this is a marquee showdown between powerhouse schools, great coaches. Well, there's nothing wrong with Duke, but Syracuse, boy, they've been kind of snake-bitten this season. Not a bad team at 15-8, but they had that 6'10 freshman and Chris McCullough. He only played 3 games during that 3-0 start and then hurt his knee, and he's out. Then you got all these NCAA sanctions or self-imposed sanctions. No tournament play. We do know that. Previous 4 games for Syracuse, some of the previous 4 anyway, they lost to Miami at home as a favorite. North Carolina, they gave up 93 points, playing no defense. They had a game against Virginia Tech, 72-70. They were 11-point favorite in that, and then they went to Pittsburgh, lost that game. So, Jeff, this team has been on a money-burning 1-9-1 spread run of recent. A lot of problems for the Orange. Can you trust them?
No, you can't, because it's pretty much a nightmare season for them. As you said, they have that self-imposed postseason ban. They're 6-13-1 against the spread for the season, 3-8 at home against the number. They had a players meeting last week. It didn't do much good because they went out and lost to Pittsburgh. The only thing you might look at here is that this could be, with all the bad things happening to them, this game could be like their Super Bowl. This could be the biggest game of the season for them. They might get up for this one, and it's hard to tell because it's probably a good game not to bet because you're not sure what the mental state is for that team. Duke, of course, everything's going pretty well for them. They had 2 huge wins, milestones for Krzyzewski, and it seemed like that was kind of a relief to them. Then went and played Notre Dame in revenge and destroyed them. So I wouldn't go against Duke in this game. I'm not sure what the line is going to be. It's going to be Duke, probably a small favor. But with the situation with Syracuse right now, I would lean toward Duke, John.
Well, Duke is winning and covering games. 21-3 stayed up. 4-3-1 spread run. Also 5-2 over the total, and they have a winning record on the road of 6-2. So everything's going well for them. On Monday, they beat Florida State, shooting 45%. As usual, 7 of 20 from long range. Defense was a little lax beyond the arc, 7 of 14. But still, talking about a Duke team that's top 10 in the nation in scoring. They shoot 50% as a team. That's in the top 6. Only drawback I see with them is the Blue Devils 5-12-2 against the spread in ACC play. But Zach, how do you see this one?
Well, I know these 2 teams very well. And we'll talk about last year's matchup first. Obviously, we know the Jim Boeheim threw off his coat when C.J. Fair should have been going to the free throw line for an and 1 and win the game. But those are 2 different teams. Last year, obviously, they had Jabari Parker on Duke, as well as the wingman that transferred from Ole Miss or Mississippi State. Hood, they're gone. And Duke just kicked off. I mean, we're talking about Syracuse with their issues, but Duke kicked off Rashid Suleiman, which that hasn't factored in yet because Tyus Jones and Matt Jones and Quinn Cook have been playing well for Duke. But sooner or later, that's going to be a factor. He was the leading 3-point shooter for Duke at 44% on the season. So sooner or later, that's going to factor in. But Syracuse, they weren't going to make the tournament anyways. I loved what Jim Boeheim and the athletic director, Darryl Gross, did in making that decision, because next year they have 5 top recruits. I think right now they're ranked 2 or 3 in the country, and they have everybody coming back except the big man, Rakeem Christmas. So I think this is the point of the season where we're going to start to see Syracuse grow a little bit. I saw it against Pittsburgh, actually, with some of their young players that were struggling in conference play. They finally started to look a little bit better. Guard Caleb Joseph, he looked really good. Ron Patterson, BJ Johnson also started to show some signs that they haven't been there at all. And Tyler Roberson as well, the sophomore. They all played well. And the key thing with them is defense is not going to be as strong as it's been in the zone the last 5 years. So we're going to see points in this game on both sides, I think. So I think you can definitely take the over. But I also like Syracuse for the cover here. I love Rakeem Christmas inside. He's a 6'10" big man, and I don't think Jalil Okafor's had. Yeah, there's no way he's faced anybody of his caliber. So hopefully Rakeem Christmas can stay out of foul trouble, because if he's in the game, I think they can send doubles at him. In that zone, even though it's not as good as it's been when you have all the young players that Duke has, there's going to be issues with turnovers against that zone, the way they throw different angles at it. Jim Boeheim always throws different angles. Both of these coaches know each other very well. Obviously, Coach K and Jim Boeheim, they're partners on the Dream Team, with Boeheim being Coach K's assistant. And there's another X factor for people that are looking to back Syracuse. Michael Benajay, the guard for Syracuse, he's really emerged as well. Him and Trevor Cooney next year, they're going to be probably the top backcourt in the ACC, I believe. But Michael Benajay, he actually started his career at Duke as a freshman, couldn't get any minutes, decided to transfer. And that was a funny story, because Boeheim was the assistant for Coach K. And Coach K actually offered him to Boeheim, and took him. And now he's starting to blossom. Last year he didn't play very many minutes, but he did well against Duke at Duke, and I think he can do it again. There's something about going back to your former team that elevates your play, and I think we can see Michael Benajay have a nice game at Duke. And I think Syracuse will get enough points. Obviously, people are loving Duke right now. They've been earning the cash, like you said. Mm-hmm. But I think this is a good spot to back Syracuse at 8.5 points.
Well, I'm not going to trust either team against the spread right now because of some of their numbers that show. However, I do see a lot of offense in this game, an up-tempo game. Duke, top 10 in the nation in scoring, an exceptional team inside and out. The defense, on that Monday game against Florida State, they allowed 45% shooting, 7 of 14 from long range. Duke was on a 10-4 run over the total. And then the Syracuse defense, they gave up 83 points to Pitt, 93 to North Carolina, part of a 5-1-1 run over the total. So I see an offensive show on Saturday.